Hello, we are the Pac5 and we are presenting on our third sprint of our HIV management application. As a refresher, here is an introduction to our project with a link to our project plan. Our architectural diagram has not changed since Sprint 2. The diagram indicates that users will access the Kubernetes cluster through their client, and the potential cluster architecture is represented here. The languages and frameworks that will be used will include a Django web application run with Python and a front end built on Bootstrap and Material frameworks, which include HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Our deployment pipeline consists of the following stages. Currently, we are in the development stage, pushing our code to GitHub when it's ready. The code is then pushed to the appropriate pieces of our stack, where we will deploy the app on the Kubernetes cluster. Here is a mock-up of our current patient login screen. When a patient opens the application, a simple login screen appears. This uses the patient's email as their username and password authentication. Upon login, the patient will land on their dashboard. The dashboard displays the patient's name with picture as well as any notifications. The dashboard will also provide easy access to the patient's appointments, labs, fitness summary, and a link to learning materials. The patient will have access to their appointments through a calendar view. This will include appointment details on the bottom. Patients will be able to see previous and upcoming appointments, as well as previous appointment details. The application will also provide a patient meal tracking, including meal details. Further iterations will look towards counting patient calories and nutrient intakes. Here, patients can view previous meals and log a new meal with the Add Meal button. Patients will also be able to track their workouts within the application, including their previous and future workouts. Future iterations will look toward the patient's workout details and a workout schedule. Here, patients can add a workout with the Add Workout button and view their previous workouts. The patient will have access to a fitness dashboard as well. The goal of this page is to combine patient workout plans and meal tracking to provide a comprehensive view of the overall patient health. This will give the patient a better idea of where their current fitness is at in relation to their HIV management. Here, the patient can add a new workout or add a new meal, and the summary here will include previous workouts and meals. Patients will also have access to their labs. This includes their lab schedule with past and future appointments. Lab results will also be summarized here with a benchmark for the patient to compare to. The patient will be able to drill down to their lab details and compare these against the benchmarks. Patients will also have access to an education page. This will link to various sources on HIV, living with HIV, and HIV management that the patient can browse to learn more about living with HIV.
My name is Derry Merkins, and I'm the project manager for the Pac5 HIV management application. Taking a look at our Gantt chart, We're about to move into phase 2 of our project, which will entail the actual development of the application itself. The initial sprint will cover getting our local environment set up, along with the remote environment on the HDAP Kubernetes cluster. After that, we'll begin developing the basic functionality of the application, including appointment and lab tracking, fitness logging, the learning center, and the patient dashboard, as well as the landing page for initial visitors to the application. After this initial development is done, the final 2 sprints will be dedicated to a handful of FHIR integration points, and then the final phase of the project will be preparing it for the final deploy and demo. We'll be using GitHub issues to track and manage all work being done on the application. User stories have been created for all the specified features, including stretch features that we'd like to implement if time permits, along with chore issues for background work that needs to be done, such as setting up our local machines and setting up the remote environment. All work on issues will be tracked through GitHub for reference purposes, and the actual workflow of issues will be managed through GitHub as well, meaning marking issues as in progress, merging pull requests, closing issues, etc. We also have a project page set up through GitHub to implement a pseudo Kanban workflow to visualize the current state of the project development. All pending issues will be listed in our backlog, which is what we will pull issues from for our weekly iterations, which I'll detail next slide. Issues for the current iteration will appear in the to-do column. Once those issues are in progress, they will appear in the development column. When they are merged into the staging branch, they will show up as under review for the QA team to test out and either approve or reassign back to the developer for additional work. Once those issues are approved, they will appear in the deploy column, which means they are ready to merge into the master branch to be deployed up to the remote environment. And once an issue is live on the remote site, it will finally be moved to the done column. Our development cycle moves in 1-week iterations. Each Wednesday night, we hold an iteration planning meeting through Slack where we discuss 3 things: what was done this past week, what will be done this upcoming week, and any blockers that any of us have, whether that's an internal blocker like waiting for an issue to be closed, or an external blocker like waiting for feedback from the course instructors or our TA mentor. Developers will decide what issues they would like to be assigned for the upcoming iteration, and those issues are then moved to the appropriate developer via GitHub. Developers work on their issues that week until the weekly Tuesday merge, where all of their local work is merged into the team's staging branch. On Wednesday, the QA team pulls down the staging branch, and from Wednesday through Sunday, the QA team tests out the issues that were developed and coordinates with developers to ensure that everything with the issue is acceptable. Once the QA team has finalized the issues for the iteration, those issues are merged into the master branch and deployed to the remote server during our weekly Sunday night deploy. Once again, our reference documents can be found at the link on this slide. If you have any questions about our project, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly on Piazza or via email. Thank you very much for your time.